Alright, I had a lot of comments about this, most of them pretty hateful. So, I took electrical, I want to do something to burn down this garage. First of all, there's no occupants in this garage. But I don't leave this on. That's one. Two, this is not grounded, as you can see. You don't need multiple grounds. This is a 2-leg. This is for either a hair dryer. I'm going to say a hair dryer. It did have a ground cord. Probably an air conditioner though. It says indoor use only. It's one of the two. But it's got its own GFCI on it. So that's connected to a big, what I know is an air conditioner cord, because I'm trying to make it all the way across as much as possible. The extension cord I'm running on it is this pretty hefty one, which is a 14.3. On this side, we got another hefty cord. This was probably to a power tool, but 3x14 aug. Like I said, see if we can get that focused in. It's probably going to be hard. Yep, right there. 3x14 aug, right below my. That can handle quite a bit of current, especially AC. This is a adapter that goes from 220 to make that welder, that reboot welder 220. Basically what it's doing on 110, you have your neutral, which is same as ground. Ground, neutral, same. They're hooked to the same thing. Actually on the transformer, you only have one wire going in the transformer and a ground wire to ground it out. On either side of that, you have a 110 going one way and a 110 going the other way. So it's literally, that's why you see 3 wires up on it. One's ground, or the neutral of the generator, the station, whatnot. The other one is to run 110 and 220. And then the other one's for 3-phase. That's just from my understanding. It's not like I've done high tension powers, but from my understanding, either way, you got one wire going to a transformer. The 220 is either end of that same transformer. So what we're doing, this is ground, ground, neutral, neutral, ground. I'm pretty sure it's this side. It might be this side. The other side's your 110. Normally on 110, that's how it works. But when you run 220 on this specific unit, it doesn't run in neutral to this no longer. Now it runs the other 110 of your 220, 230, 240, whatever, to it. So, I'm going to cut this open. This thing is taped to friggin' death. There is no getting a hold of that. There's no nothing happening. Plus it's up in the air. It's away from everybody. It don't even get warm. I checked it. Believe me, I'm not trying to lose all the tools I got in my life. People are just ridiculous on YouTube, on the comments. People arguing about how to state Ohm's law. How it should be written into the statement and like it matters. Because you can't actually write it like it's supposed to be stated. One person arguing that you should have to put equal after you state it because it's an equation. An equation has equul. While they're all sitting at their desktop not really actually doing any work. Okay. So that video got cut off short anyway. So these are all clamped like crazy tight. I can barely rotate that. This one's not going nowhere. The wire's wrapped around it, and then it's clamped clear on the wire. And then on top of it, each one's taped. This one is jammed down on there. It's a spade connector with the rubber cover. That one goes to this. This one's a 14-aught. This is a 14-aught. The ground to this has a ground, goes over to here. This is still hooked up even though that don't have a ground on it. Just because we're doing. Now it's not ideal. If you don't have any idea what you're doing electrical wise, you probably shouldn't do anything electrical. But this will get you by in a pinch if you need to get some 220 work done. I just suggest unplugging it. Also, I wanted to give a tour real quick. That's the machine I'm using. It is tiny. It's a 200 amp. Give you an idea, it does everything. MMA, lift TIG, gasless, flux, gas, solid. It does decent little welds. It took me a second. My ass not thinking. I just went solid. Like just went solid wire with the gas. I accidentally forgot to flop the polarities, and my welds were coming out really nasty at first. It's like, what's going on? The flux was coming out better. And then I realized, oh yeah, I forgot to flip my polarity. So that part was before I flipped the polarity. I think this was after I did flip the polarity, which it might not be the prettiest thing, but I'm also getting back used to welding. I think that one was the best one. That one was after flipping polarity, which is through and through at least. And it's kind of hard to tell on there. Of course. But it's through and through. I just got a brand new grind disc. But yeah, so there's my gas line. Going to a flow meter. I like flow meters instead of pressure gauges. I think they work better, personally. Tells you how much gas is flowing, not how much pressure you have. But you see it's got a safety chain. That safety chain's crazy tight. It has a turnbuckle on it that's cranked down. Like I said in my comment, safety first. Fire extinguisher. Full. Maybe it's not the biggest, best, but I don't plan on catching stuff on fire. As you see, every time I weld, my table slightly catches on fire. But gas off, it's always off. A little residual pressure in there, but that's about it, because I don't want to suffocate. But yeah, believe me you, I know what I'm doing. This ain't the first time. Everything else ain't hillbilly. I got reels up, everything's mounted. Yeah, it's a shitty little compressor. I don't half-ass nothing. It's not mine to add a 220 in. We're talking about it. Me and the landlord's talking about it, but he has a lot of other things going, so that's not the first thing on his mind, to add 220 to this garage. I figured I would show taping this thing back up too. The ground we're not that serious about, so I'm gonna go here first to get this to pull down some. That's the kind of hard part. You gotta kind of hit. And eventually you'll start getting some good rolls on it. I mean, the idea, dude said, one little wire going anywhere wrong. Well, yeah, one little strand, of course. So you make sure there's no strands going anywhere. But it still ain't going to burn up your shit. The only thing it's going to do is make the breaker go. unless it's sitting there constantly getting warm. So that's where you use common sense and you make sure it's not getting warm. No, common sense is hard to come by now, but that's typically what you do. You use your sense. If it was my building, my stuff, this would already have a 220 in it. But it's not. It's not, so I can't just say, hey, I'm dropping a 220 in your house to do this. I'm going to leave that one like that. Clean this tape back up. The ground, I'm not super pressed. I am going to run it around it just to be sure. So worst case scenario, it can't back off. And then I'm going to go around all of it. And I'm going tight too. I don't want things loose. I don't want things out. And I'm going to go like this and start going around it. Mainly to keep pressure on that. I'm going to go straight across, straight on top of it. And do it the same way this way. Go back, do it the same way that way. Now I'm just going to start wrapping it. So, I'm recording. Going all the way back. All the way back. All the way to there. And then finding any place I missed, like right there. I might be really good at like wrapping harnesses because I've done a million of them. Might have a little bit of skill with electrical tape. Just a little bit. I'm going to do one more and it's kind of going to be funky. I just got to cover that piece, but I got it. Now I'm going to do one more to wrap it around here and tighten that part up where it's kind of hanging out. That is it. Now when it gets plugged in, it gets plugged in like so. I can't make it that way exactly, so I plug this one in here behind everything. See, no sparks, no fire show. Get it behind my board here. I want my air hose. I want that wire. Set this up over all this, like so. And then run this kind of back so that this cord can get plugged in here. Now this side of the cord goes to this extension cord. Bam. Now we're going to turn it on. It's got two lights on it. One says 120, one says 240. We got the 240 light on. It's kind of hard to see because it's ultra bright. No problems whatsoever. It loves it. Well, with it like this many times. See, when I'm done, just unplug the wires. Which this one's a pain in the butt. Sheesh. But yep, that's basically it. It's not that hard.